So the dust has settled on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yesterday we had Ubisoft Forward 2024, where we got official first look at gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And before we get into that, I want to review the event as a whole, because ultimately I came out of it quite disappointed. I feel like the gameplay that they showed for Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't really showcase the game in the best light, and it's clear from the live stream and the chat afterwards that everybody seemed a little bit down, a little bit disappointed on what we were given. This is the end on gaming for me, really. I'm selling my Windows laptop and getting a MacBook. I think Ubisoft was sort of on the back foot anyway after the Xbox showcase was so good, with like over 33 games showcased. Ubisoft didn't really have that much to show us. Now at Ubisoft Forward we got a particular set of gameplay. We got some time with Yasuke and we got some time with Naoe. However, certain YouTubers, the bigger YouTubers, have been sent additional gameplay, which I think totally changes the way I view this game. I was extremely disappointed with what they gave us. They showed us far too many recycled animations, a lot of emphasis on Naoe's skill set and not much on Yasuke's. We spent a lot of time walking around as Yasuke and, petting a dog, which didn't really showcase what his playstyle is going to be like. We got a brief glimpse at combat and it seemed very similar to what Valhalla gave us, so I wasn't really feeling the energy in the room during the live stream. So in particular, I watched a video from a YouTuber called Blackwoods. You may have watched him already. And he was sent additional footage by Ubisoft, and it is so much better. It's incredible. The parkour that they showed off actually gives us an idea what parkour is going to be like in this game, and it seems like a genuine improvement on Mirage, which is exactly what we were looking for. They've removed that weird delay on the movement that Mirage had in between moves, and also they've made the animations a bit more flashy and a bit more reminiscent of like the AC 3 and 4 era, where you could like hop over carts and stacks in like a more interesting and flamboyant way, with things like front flipping and dive rolling and extra additional free running moves that people will recognise from other franchises. And following along with that thread, I think Naoe actually comes out even better from the additional gameplay. Her combat looks like it's been designed from the ground up, as opposed to Yasuke's, which copies from Eivor's style quite a lot. And I think this is actually a bit of deja vu, because a similar thing happened with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where Jacob reused a lot of the animations from Arno, but Evie had her own unique set. This seems to have happened again, but with Yasuke and Naoe. I think Naoe's combat being on the back foot is a lot more reminiscent to Mirage, but I think it's a good thing. I think that having her on the back foot in more of a defensive playstyle does make the combat different from Yasuke's, and that's something that would have been incredibly difficult to visualize without this additional gameplay. And since this game was announced, my biggest issue is that I wanted it to feel modern. I've been saying it in nearly every video. I want the game to feel modern and fresh and on par with other franchises coming out for this generation of consoles. And there was one moment in this additional gameplay where I got that feeling again, and it's when Naoe is using her chain and it's destroying the bamboo and the trees and the rocks, and you can see it's affecting everything in the environment around her. And it's an innovation that really impressed me and just solidified that this game will have elements that bring it up from the older generations and into the modern age. And speaking of destructible environments, we got to see gameplay of Yasuke in a way that spotlighted his character so much better. We got to see him breaking through walls and doors and just being this absolute beast of a character that can just wreck shop whenever he wants to. It looks like Yasuke is not just going to be like the Cassandra or Eivor style of playing Assassin's Creed. It's actually a full-on power trip. It's going to feel totally fresh and new, and I think that the gameplay they released at Ubisoft Forward just didn't highlight this at all. We got a few kill animations, we got a lot of walking around, and unfortunately I just don't think it did a good job of showcasing just how good Yasuke's gameplay is going to be, and I think we got a much better version of that in this gameplay that some people are not even going to see. We've also heard that there's going to be different stances in the game, and that how long you hold a stance for is going to play into the combat. that was a really interesting detail that they should have highlighted more in the gameplay demo. There are all these interesting things that we're hearing about but not seeing. And along that line, I want to talk about the seasons in the game, because this is the main selling point for Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's that any mission can be played in any environment, and that environment will change and will adapt depending on when you play it. The game is not going to be like Assassin's Creed 3 where there are some winter segments. No, these are missions that are designed for any season, and they will change the gameplay and it will adapt around this. But still, we haven't seen any examples of this. We've been told that rivers will freeze over and that some rivers will be sort of accessible for stealth, which we did see in Naoya's stealth showcase. But we've still yet to see the real benefits that it's going to bring, even to like Yasuke's gameplay. How does the cold weather affect Yasuke's style of combat? Who knows? Does it slow him down? These are still questions that have yet to be answered. And now that I've talked about a lot of the positives, I think it's only fair that I do address some of these negative criticisms, because if you watch that live stream back, we are in disbelief afterwards, and so I think it's right to address some of the issues that me and the chat had. The animations are clearly reused from Valhalla. There is a lot of recycling and reuse used here, which is a shame because I expected something a little more innovative and perhaps like a whole new engine. I don't think this is a whole new engine. I think it's an adaptation of the engine that they already had. The face animations and cutscene quality look especially poor. I'm just waiting for some kind of story trailer that gives us the cinematic moments that we're going to see in the game, because if you go back to like Mirage's story trailer, it highlighted the one cinematic cutscene in the entire game, and I think that that was a real red flag, that the game didn't really have much production value behind it, and I'm just really hoping that when it comes to, presentation, in the gameplay things look great, but in terms of the narrative, it seems to be quite lacking. Not to mention the fact that we have not seen any mention of the assassins yet. The devs have talked about the assassins and how Naoya is going to become one, but we don't get any indication in the game of how she gets her hidden blade or any story or narrative details. She doesn't wear any of their colours, she doesn't wear any of their... There's no iconography of the assassins, we haven't seen the assassin logo anywhere, and that raises a lot of questions for me on are we going back to the Odyssey style where only fans will know what connects to Assassin's Creed and everyone else will just sort of live the fantasy and not think about it? Because I want this to be an Assassin's Creed game. I don't want this to just be a shinobi and samurai game in which the character looks like an assassin and has a hidden blade. The hidden blade does raise the question of how she got it, and I'm hoping that there is some sort of assassin influence going on here, and that it's not just looted from a corpse. But as a final note that I do want to bring up, and this is a massive one, the stealth was incredible. The way that they have innovated on the stealth aspects of the game brings it back to the roots of the franchise, and does it in a way it's not just social stealth anymore, it is traditional sort of Hitman style stealth. We've got crouching, we've got prone, we've got destructible environments that help limit lighting. The lighting plays a massive part in how you navigate these set pieces, and the destructible environments help you control the levels of light, which is really in-depth and interesting. And I think overall, people are going to prefer the stealth playstyle just because of how different and innovative it feels. Now, I said at the end of the live stream that I was still hesitant to pick up this game, and that is still true. I need to see more story details because, as a fan of this franchise, that is the aspect that I hone in on. I really enjoy the characters and the story. Obviously, a gameplay trailer is going to focus on gameplay and not the narrative. We need to wait and see, but I think the story trailer is really going to cement for me whether this is an Assassin's Creed game or if it is a Shinobi game. But a massive takeaway for me is that this additional gameplay that YouTubers have been sent, which I just watched a couple of hours ago, have made so much difference on my perception of the game. I was really disappointed with what they gave us, and this could have been a much more negative video if we just went off the gameplay, but even little clips started surfacing on TikTok of additional gameplay, and I was like, where can I find these? Because this looks like a much better game than what they showcased. They focused on the wrong things in the showcase, and I think that may have backfired on a lot of people's opinion and perception of the game, but I've still seen a lot of love, a lot of people really enjoying what's coming for this game. For me, I'm still a little bit on the fence. I'm not 100% sure, because they shined the game in such a bad light, I think, to begin with, that now I need to work up that trust back. I need to see more of the parkour, because we've only seen a little snippet. That snippet did look good, but I need to see more of it. I need to see story details and just a bit more convincing to reassure me that this game is going to be the game that we want it to be. So now that I've collected my thoughts, I want to know down below, what do you think of Assassin's Creed Shadows? I think this is a very controversial title. There are people on both ends of the spectrum, love and hate, all for different reasons as well, and I think that's going to be a really interesting discussion as we continue with the life cycle of this game. Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more Assassin's Creed Shadows content. And I will see you all in the next video.